CTV News with Lauren Stallone.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. 3 former senior leaders at London Health Sciences Centre are fighting back against a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. They've each filed formal statements of defense, and with more on their side of the story, here's Rita Ismail.
A $10 million lawsuit filed last summer by London Health Sciences Centre claims former president and CEO Dr. Jackie Schleifler-Taylor, former chief financial officer Abi Mukherjee, and former executive Bradley Campbell failed to act on concerns raised in a confidential document about possible fraud in hospital procurement and construction contracts. In a separate but related claim, the hospital also alleges a broader $50 million fraud scheme involving former executives and contractors. All of the named parties deny wrongdoing, and none of the allegations have been tested in court. In her defense, Schleifler-Taylor says she was never told about what the lawsuit calls an additional report, raising concerns about fraud. She says when she received a separate workplace investigation report in April of 2022 dealing with staff issues, she directed human resources to seek legal advice and relied on that guidance. She also argues the lawsuit should not move forward because of a separation agreement she signed when she left in June of 2024, and because more than 2 years have passed since the events in question. Schleifler-Taylor has filed a counterclaim alleging the hospital violated that agreement by publicly sharing details about her departure. Mukherjee also denies any knowledge of fraud. He says the report at the center of the lawsuit was completed before he was hired in September 2022. He also argues the claim was filed too late and says the lawsuit is retaliation for his own wrongful dismissal case against the hospital. And Campbell also denies wrongdoing. He says concerns first surfaced during a 2022 workplace harassment investigation and that he recommended the issue be raised with senior leadership. He maintains he was not responsible for overseeing any fraud investigation. Since the matter is now before the courts, LHSC declined an interview request. In a statement to CTV News, the hospital confirmed it has reviewed the recent defense pleadings. In part, Supervisor David Mouche said the pleadings themselves underscore fundamental governance breakdowns that existed at that time. None of the allegations in the statement of claim or the statements of defense have been proven in court. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
CTV News has reached out to lawyers representing Schleifler-Taylor, Mukherjee, and Campbell. Mukherjee's lawyer declined comment, and at this point, we've received no response from the others. Jewish and Muslim centers in London are on heightened alert after gunshots were fired at a Toronto area synagogue last night. With more on the local reaction, here's Brian Bicknell.
It's become the new normal at Jewish synagogues and community centers. Violence abroad, anxiety at home, followed by heightened security. Jewish London, Ontario Executive Director Dean Lavey says sadly they're used to it.
There's not a Jewish institution worldwide today that doesn't have security regularly. And that's the lived-in experience in London right now.
He was reacting to an attack of gunfire Monday night on a synagogue in the GTA while people were inside. No injuries were reported. It comes in wake of rising violence in the Middle East. Meantime, officials at the London Muslim Mosque are also condemning the violence against a place of worship.
It's unfortunate that every time something happens overseas, it spills over here.
Police say just having their presence felt can give people a greater sense of security and safety when tensions are running high.
We want the community to feel safe, and we're concerned about their well-being, so we want to make sure that we have resources in place to monitor the areas and show a presence.
The LPS says it is closely monitoring the situation in Iran and potential impacts locally, and to expect an increased police presence around places of worship and community and gathering spaces.
Parents, whenever something happens, they reach out and they say, all right, if you guys increase and heighten the security at the mosque, and which is, we always say yes, because events like that we become more vigilant.
We are working, we have a great relationship with the London Police Service. All of our evening events and all of our afternoon events will have security, which has been, again, an unfortunate reality over the past few years.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
City councillors approved a controversial high-rise project today in the North Talbot neighbourhood. Officials with York Developments have offered to relocate or compensate existing residents, convincing enough city councillors to give them the green light. However, as Daryl Newcomb reports, the developer isn't required to follow through on these commitments.
I will say this, a little less horrible, but not a lot.
City Council divided over York Development's offer to provide existing tenants of this affordably priced building with similar accommodations or $10,000 compensation if its application is approved to redevelop the northeast corner of Rideout in Kent into a 30-story building. Company President Ali Soufan's letter also committed to create a small, publicly accessible private park across the street.
Those two commitments have meaningfully addressed my earlier concerns about tenant displacement and green space. And while no redevelopment is without impact, these measures demonstrate an effort to mitigate them. Councillor
Skylar Frank wrote York Development's offer into the motion, along with some environmental and bird-friendly requests. But several colleagues emphasized even in a motion, York Developments can't be required to follow through on the commitments.
We have absolutely no tools through the site plan process to make sure that this goes forward.
It's not binding. It's already been said it's going to be done, and we're not pushing hard enough. We're not fighting hard enough for London.
The more people we have living downtown will create a better downtown. And that's why I support this particular application.
Downtown Councillor David Ferreira emphasized the loss of affordably priced private market apartments if the redevelopment goes ahead.
We are going to lose the affordable housing. It should be a temporary relocation and a replacement in the same spot.
I think we have to protect affordability wherever possible, but at the same time, we have consistently said that growth belongs downtown.
Ultimately, a majority of council voted in favor of the planning application by York Developments.
How do we then hold the developer, in this case, to account on these extra items? And I still think that that's going to be a challenge. And I think that it's going to create even more sensitivities in the neighborhood.
York Developments intends to break ground in early 2027. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
A proposed casino in Grand Bend will not happen. With more on where the gambling attraction would have been built and whether it could still be constructed in the future, here's Scott Miller.
Grand Bend is not getting a casino, at least not right now.
There was a proposal for a casino in South Huron. The developer brought forward the proposal to have one in Grand Bend. We always listen to all the developers and see where it can go. We're not saying yes, we're not saying no. We just want to hear all the facts first. But at this point, there is nothing moving forward, simply because OLG is not doing any more expansions of casinos in this area. So at this point, it's put on pause.
The former site of the boat store just off Highway 21 on the northern side of Grand Bend was the proposed site, brought forward by a developer to South Huron Council late last year. But Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation, which governs where casinos go in Ontario, told South Huron Council this week they've got enough gambling spots in southern Ontario and aren't looking to add more. Adding casinos to the region would also require amendments to the deals they have with current casino sites in places like Clinton and London.
OLG controls where the casinos do go, so they would work with the developer and then come together with an idea, and then the public would have an opportunity to speak to it.
Well, the answer from OLG in terms of putting a casino here in Grand Bend is no right now. That doesn't mean the answer will always be no.
At this point, there's nothing happening, but who knows in the future what will happen. If OLG does want to expand, they know we're interested and we're willing to talk.
Finch says if the opportunity to add a casino at the proposed site in Grand Bend arises again, South Huron would most certainly be ready to listen.
Casinos have proven themselves over the past number of years with the regulations and the policing that goes into it. So the ones that are local, the one in Clinton, for instance, it works well, and we don't see any adverse side effects to that degree. However, we're very much aware that there could be challenges, but we want to make sure that we listen to all parties first and then move forward with whatever the public and the developer, and if OLG is on board as well, to work with everyone.
In Grand Bend, Scott Miller, CTV News.
A fire destroyed a house in Byron overnight. The home is at the corner of Commissioners and North Street. Fire crews say it ignited just before 11 p.m. last night. They say flames were pouring from the front of the building when they arrived and had made their way onto the roof. According to emergency responders, the house was unoccupied. Meanwhile, Thames Centre firefighters responded to a house fire just outside Dorchester early this morning. Crews said they found flames and heavy smoke coming from an upper-level bedroom, and they were able to knock the fire down quickly. Fire officials say there were 4 people in the home who all escaped, one of whom was checked over by paramedics for possible smoke inhalation. No details on a cause were provided, and damage is estimated at $300,000. 2 of the 4 people charged in the Chesham Place weapons investigation appeared in court today. 27-year-old Jerry Tong and 21-year-old Fei Ong Ji appeared separately over Zoom. They were each given new orders not to communicate with 5 people in addition to their 3 co-accused. The court heard both of their lawyers were still waiting for disclosure from the Crown. The other 2 suspects are due for court appearances tomorrow, which includes an expected bail decision for Zekun Wang. All 4 face a rash of weapons charges stemming from a London police search on Chesham Place back in January. Provincial police are reporting a multi-million-dollar drug bust in Huron County. They say police raided a rural property near Clinton last Friday, where they located more than 4,000 cannabis plants. According to police, the suspects did not have a permit for such a substantial grow-up. They seized the plants, which they say are worth more than $2 million, while arresting 2 people.
It was a large-scale operation, 4,000 plants and all the potting soil that's required and fertilizer and water and hydro supply that was required in this exterior building. It was a large, organized, complex system that was set up there. The estimate that we have, that's in Canadian dollars, over $2 million. If that product were to make it across the border, for example, into the U.S., we know that the value of that would be much higher. I'm not sure if that's where it was intended to go, but certainly they did not have any permits to grow these plants, and therefore they've been charged criminally.
Provincial police say they are cracking down on drivers passing stop school buses in our region. It's part of an 11-day blitz dispatching officers to areas where complaints are frequent. Sean Irvin reports.
Be it winter, spring, or fall, it is a call officers are dispatched or a witness to far too often. Drivers passing a school bus with its lights flashing.
Almost seems like a daily occurrence where we get complaints from bus drivers or other motorists on the road.
And officers have had enough of it. So through the middle of the month, OPP from across southwestern Ontario will be stationing themselves in locations known for infractions.
This comes about as a result of many near misses throughout the region.
OPP want to avoid any injuries to children, especially in the wake of the late 2024 death of Dante Caranci. He died exiting a school bus on Longwoods Road just outside OPP jurisdiction. 2 people face charges related to the 7-year-old's death. Both of those cases remain before the courts. Hare concurred that the tragedy resonates with his fellow officers who are doing everything they can to protect children.
We're just trying to minimize the risk that our youth are seeing when they're riding the bus. It shouldn't be a thing, but unfortunately, it still seems to be.
Late last year, the Community Bus Safety Committee at Dante's School in Delaware debuted the No Excuses campaign. It warns drivers to take notice of school buses. Road signs will appear in the coming weeks. Committee member Laura Preston told CTV News she welcomes the extra effort by the OPP. But Preston is calling for stronger year-round enforcement and for stop-arm video cameras to be installed on all school buses. Still, he reminds parents and children that they have a role to play in school bus safety. But ultimately, Hare wants drivers to be more responsible and reminds them that yellow lights on buses just prior to the red are not an indication to speed by.
We all have a role to play in this to be a lot better.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Coming up, an elderly rhino in Australia is taking R&R to the next level. are the closing numbers for the North American markets. In Toronto, the TSX lost 756 points, while in New York, the Dow fell 404 and the Nasdaq dropped 232. The Canadian dollar gained a modest 0.02 of a cent, and on commodity markets, gold dropped more than $180 an ounce, and oil added $3.33 a barrel. Local real estate officials say home sales picked up last month. According to the London St. Thomas Realtors Association, 410 homes sold in February, up from 341 in January. Home sales are down nearly 20% on a year-to-year basis, though. L-Star officials say the region's average sale price was down slightly at about $620,000. Iranians are fleeing the escalating violence in their country, largely heading to nearby Turkey. American and Israeli forces launched a fresh wave of attacks today, while Iran fired retaliatory strikes on U.S. allies in the Gulf. With the latest, here's Adrian Gobriel.
As the sun sets on day 4 of this war, the scale and scope is painfully coming into focus. South of Tehran, Israel struck this compound today, belonging to the group responsible for electing Iran's next supreme leader. Throughout the night and into the day, Israeli forces have also been targeting Iranian-backed Hezbollah positions across Lebanon. The Red Crescent says that more than 780 have died in Iran since the fighting began on Saturday, with the single biggest loss of life taking place here at this girls' school. Neither Israel nor the U.S. have claimed responsibility, though nearby fresh grave sites have been dug to bury dozens of children. The president of the Red Crescent in Iran saying that more than 168 children, aged 7, 8, and 9, were martyred.
The fear, the panic, the anxiety experienced by millions of people in the Middle East and beyond is palpable and was entirely avoidable.
11 countries across the region have been on the receiving end of airstrikes fired by Iran since the fighting began. Following an Iranian attack in Saudi Arabia, the U.S. have shuttered embassies in Riyadh, Kuwait, and Beirut. With Tehran under a daily, deadly bombardment, thousands of Iranians are trying to flee to neighboring countries. Turkey is home to more than 120,000 Iranians, with many residing right here in Istanbul's historic quarter. But foreign nationals we spoke with at cafes in this neighborhood declined to speak on camera, still fearful of the reach of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard and anti-Iranian sentiment here in this country. So celebrations in your house last night. Halit Yenejeh's wife is Iranian. The couple have been waiting for the decimation of the Islamic regime.
Islamic regime for devil, for Persian people, we are happy, really happy. Devil's times finish.
Halit, what is your hope for the future?
We want good election, good rules election, and secular system for Iran.
As the flames of war fan out of control, any semblance of peace in the Middle East at this hour remains a distant hope. Tonight, U.S. Central Command said they've hit 1,700 targets since their joint operation with Israel began. With Iran hitting back, this entire region has been thrown into a state of chaos. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Istanbul.
Donald Trump claims Iran's air defenses, the Air Force, Navy, and leadership are gone on a day he says CTV's Washington Bureau Joy Melvin listened in as the U.S. president expressed his displeasure with certain countries.
In the Oval Office, the U.S. president says he just had a feeling that Iran was going to strike, but denies he was pulled into this war by Israel.
I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first.
Contradicting his own Secretary of State, Marco Rubio.
We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces.
The president, who promised no more wars, portrays this one as necessary to eliminate Iran's nuclear threat once and for all, destroying their naval and missile capabilities. And Trump says they knocked out Iran's radar defenses, hitting 1,700 targets so far.
We're hitting them very hard, and the big scale hitting goes now. They no longer have air protection. They no longer have any detection facilities at all left, and so they're going to they're going to be in for a lot of hurt.
After wiping out Iran's top leadership, Trump has called for Iranians to rise up and take over their own country. And yes, Trump has thoughts about who he'd like to take over. The late Iran Shah's son, not his first choice.
I guess the worst case would be we do this and then somebody takes over who's as bad as the previous person, right? That could happen. I would like to see somebody in there that's going to bring it back for the people.
The president lashed out at Spain and the UK for their initial response to his war.
But this is not the age of Churchill. I will say the UK has been very, very uncooperative.
And as America's war widens, already claiming U.S. soldiers' lives, lawmakers question the legal basis for Trump's war and will try to force a vote to limit the president's war powers. Joy Malbon, CTV News, Washington.
Good evening. We have some fog in the forecast overnight, and first thing tomorrow morning, we will start to see the cloud cover break, and we have some sunshine on the way for your Wednesday. Thanks, Sherry Trotman. Look at this photo. 1, 2, 3, 4 little pups all dressed up. If you're heading out for a walk in the morning with these little ones, temperature will be at about -4 at 7 and -2 at 8. Lots of sunshine, though, through your Wednesday. Stay with us. Your local weather details are next.
Julie Atchison joins me on the desk now. Julie, I finally brought my car to the car wash, and I'm not sure if it's too early. I'm hoping that my timing was perfect and no more salt, no more snow.
I mean, anytime you bring your car to the car wash, I'm going to say this time of year is perfect because we are bound to get into some more weather, and the cars need a wash, that's for sure. After the winter we've had, I know many people waiting it out. Good plan, though, Lauren, in terms of our forecast. We do have some rain on the way, so perhaps a natural car wash, but tomorrow will be a beautiful Wednesday. Forecast looking good. 3 degrees our high today, -7 our low. Comparing that with what's normal, close to where we should be for this time of year. Overnight, -5 to -7. The cloud cover breaking up, a bit of fog developing through the overnight and into tomorrow. Low pressure system to the south of us brought some periods of heavy rain through the Ohio Valley, but not able to move into southern Ontario. So we did have the chance for showers through the day today, some very light spotty drizzle in parts of the region. There was reports of some very light freezing drizzle in and around Toronto, but other than that, the system really not materializing as a lot of precipitation at the surface. As we head into the day tomorrow, things look gorgeous, but this weather system to the south will play a role in our forecast Thursday. So we have periods of rain expected, a significant thaw underway, so the melt is on. Most of that snow will be gone by the weekend with daytime highs coming into the double digits. So this is Thursday afternoon. So Thursday morning will start dry in London, the rain arriving to Windsor and Chatham and Sarnia, pushing towards St. Thomas by about 1 in the afternoon, and it will continue its trek to Midwestern Ontario. The low pressure area able to just push a bit further northward, so periods of rain expected Thursday. Your forecast, gorgeous, 6 degrees, feeling spring-like. Winds will be light and variable through the day. Forecast high Thursday, 9 degrees. Could see 14 on Friday, mainly cloudy, and then showers return to the area on Saturday. 16 degrees. So 14 to 16, that's extremely mild for this time of year, with normally daytime highs coming in anywhere from 1 to +2. 10 degrees on Sunday under a mix of sun and cloud, 11 on Monday. I know many of you have just been waiting for this weather. So yes, we will see it arrive this week with sunshine on the way and some nice temperatures. Midwestern Ontario, 6 tomorrow under a mix of sun and cloud. Some early morning fog, so if you are heading out just before sunrise, please keep that in mind, especially in those low-lying areas. 7 degrees as we head into Thursday with rain. And then Friday, mainly cloudy with some nighttime showers arriving. Saturday looks to be wet with on and off showers at 11 and 8 degrees on Sunday with a mix of sun and cloud. So temperatures, as you can see, averaging above normal. We'll see double digits this weekend, but we do have some beautiful days on the way. So some sunshine to get you through, but spring showers on the way, spring-like temperatures, and looking good over the next 7. Lauren, back to you.
Thanks, Julie. We are 100 days out from the start of the FIFA World Cup. Canada's opening match is June 12th in Toronto, where organizers hosted a Fan Fest event today, building toward the city's World Cup debut. With more on the countdown, here's Heather Wright.
The World Cup doesn't kick off for another 3 months, but excitement is starting to build. It's awesome. When I was a kid, I used to always think, why don't they bring the World Cup to Canada? Now it's actually here, so it's pretty cool.
In a city as diverse as Toronto, Eugenio Pagnotta is one of many with divided loyalties. He's half Brazilian, half Italian, born in Canada. He's rooting for Brazil, but thinks if Italy qualifies and plays Canada in its opening game, there will be a sea of Italian fans in the stands at BMO Field.
The dilemma there is interesting because Italy haven't qualified for the past 2 World Cups. If they qualify this time, BMO Field is probably going to be more blue than red.
Chapel Corner Cafe is always a destination for Portuguese fans, where support will also be split.
When Portugal plays, I'm being Portuguese. When Canada plays, I'll be Canadian.
This is the first World Cup to be played in 3 countries and 3 time zones. Hundreds of thousands of fans are expected to descend on Toronto and Vancouver, where 13 matches will be played. There has been plenty of criticism in the lead up to this tournament over ticket prices, costs, and political concerns. But Canada Soccer CEO Kevin Blue says fans are in store for an amazing experience.
I think that fans from around the world can expect Canadian hospitality.
While the ground is still frozen and June 12th seems far away, Blue predicts the energy of the tournament will be infectious.
And I think it's going to, be somewhat breathtaking as far as how much of an impact this will have on the psyche of Canadians who are looking for Canada to do great things on the biggest global stage in sports.
Canada will kick off its World Cup tournament in Toronto on June 12th. Other countries playing in Canada include Panama, Ghana, Germany, Ivory Coast, and Croatia in Toronto, and Australia, New Zealand, Qatar, and Belgium in Vancouver. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
An elderly rhino is no longer able to roll in dirt, so now she gets her spa-like mud treatments delivered by hand. This is Ma Kay. She lives at an open-range zoo in Australia. She is a great-great-grandmother in her 40s, and she's no longer physically able to roll in the mud herself and get all those hard-to-reach places. And that's important for animals who live in the sun. But Ma Kay is pretty special. She has someone who will do all the dirty work for her. That's our time tonight. Thanks for watching Rhino. We'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Lauren Stallone. Have a good night.